Today we're going to be talking about the table saw and table saw safety. Table saw safety is extremely important. It is estimated that a table saw accident happens once every 5 minutes. That's why it's important that all guards on stationary saws are kept in place, like on the table saw. Here you'll see that I am adjusting the rip fence. The table saw is primarily used for ripping. That is where we cut with the grain of the wood. To start the rip cut, we have to adjust the blade height. We want to adjust the blade of the table saw so that about 1/2 of the blade comes above the material that we are trying to cut. This is to ensure a smooth cut, and it also keeps the blade from binding up. So it's not only a smoother cut, but the table saw is working not as hard to create the cut, thus making it much safer. When you're guiding the board through the table saw, you always want to guide on the rip side. Here I am securing loose clothing. I'm making sure that I don't have anything dangling like my lanyard, and I'm pulling my sleeves up. I'm also checking the measurement of the rip fence. Now there is a gauge on the rip fence, but it's not always accurate. It's a good idea to use a ruler to make sure that you have an accurate cut. Also, once you have your setting in place, you want to make sure that the fence is secure. Making one more check of the blade height, and I have my push stick ready. The table saw has a safety margin of 4 inches. When we're ripping narrow stock, we want to use a push stick to assist us. As we're getting ready to make a cut, we want to make sure that the dust collector is hooked up. This helps keep the air clean. Not only that, but it also keeps the floor from getting a lot of debris on it and making it a hazard as well. I'll turn on the table saw, and I want to make sure as I'm getting ready to make this rip cut that I'm not standing directly behind the blade. I'm guiding the material on the fence side of the stock. If I guide it on the other side, I might have kickback. You'll see that I move my left hand away as I go to complete the cut to make sure that I do not pinch the blade. I slowly guide the cut through the saw using the push stick so that my fingers will stay safe. After I push the board all the way clear of the blade, then I will go and I'll shut the saw off. It's very important at this point to make sure that the blade completely comes to rest before I retrieve my board or I retrieve the scrap wood. Once the blade does come to rest, I will move the guard out of place and I'll retrieve my pieces. With my pieces out of the way, I will return the blade underneath the table for safety and put the guard back in place. Again, the table saw is primarily used for ripping, cutting with the grain of the wood. All other operations will be done on other equipment.